I'm getting this question on a regular basis, or, when you're at a braai, someone is going to eventually ask, is it better to rent or to buy here in South Africa? From, let's call it 43 years experience, I can tell you that that question itself is the trap. And today what I'd like to do is to get deeper into this and to tell you why I say it's a trap, and why by asking this question you'll never get out of this rat race, because you're in a state of confabulation. Confabulation is very, very simple when you do not know that you don't know what you're supposed to know. The reason why the system wants you to ask these questions is because they can keep you emotional, and by making emotional decisions you'll never get to the truth. And the truth is in a number. If you know your numbers, which I can help you with very, very quickly, I'll give you even the tools and the apps in order to be able to do it, and I'll give it to you for free. Then, for the first time, will you know if it's good to buy for you or to rent for you, not for someone else, for you. Now, before we really get into this, there's this thing that I see people step into that is causing this confabulation, and that is the good citizens paradox. Now, what is that? It's simply you are doing, most probably, everything that you should be doing. You're working hard, you've studied, you went to school, you got your grades, you maybe even got a degree, you specialize, you get the income, and then whenever you're in a position to buy a property, you are going to say, okay, let me buy a property, it's a great long-term investment, I'm not going to make the landlord rich, and all those nice and fancy stories. And then you're going to sit in front where people are going to say it's better to buy, and other people say it's better to rent, and you don't know what. But eventually I see that the moment that people start asking this, they sway towards, no, rather let me buy this property because I'm not going to make other people rich, the landlord rich. I'll rather become rich myself. And it's because we follow the same trend. I stepped into exactly the same thing when I started at the age of 24 with this process, right? Exactly the same thing that you are going through. So I've paid the price, I've seen what I've paid, and that's the reason why I want to bring clarity to you, to show you with all the experiences I've got, what is best for you, right? So you do everything that the system tells you to do, but people are not getting to retirement and be free. Well, I see, if you look at stats here in South Africa at 65, 95% of the people will not really be in the position that they are at the moment that they retire, simply because of how the system operates. Now, if you look at whatever people are telling you in terms of buying a house, on paper it may look a great thing. But the key inside is that you have done everything that you're supposed to do, but at the end of the day, it did not work out. Now, here's a question. Why? Because you did what the system told you to do. So you're not uninformed. You know what to do, but it's not working. Why? Because you confabulated. Confabulated is you're supposed to know that this system is there to milk you, not to help you, not to set you free, but to keep you in the system, because that is the way that the system operates, and that's the way that the system makes money out of you. In other words, they use your energy. So confabulation is not ignorance. Confabulation is when you do not know. The problem is, if you do not know and you listen to other people, you build confidence on incomplete information. In other words, the moment that you've bought that house, you're going to justify why that is better. The moment that you keep on renting, you're going to justify why that is better. But you don't know the truth, because the truth is in the number, and no one is teaching you how to do the numbers. So the standard advice that work hard, buy a house, save money, pay off the house, go on retirement at 65. But to unconfabulate yourself, you must go and have a look, but what's the mathematical truth? If we take all this nonsense away, in terms of how hard is my money actually working for me, if I rent or if I buy, because the end sum will determine what is best for you. The only way for you to get to freedom is to understand how to do a simple sum, where I'll give you the tools, I'll give you the apps, I'll give it to you for free, so that you can determine what's your current situation, what you should be doing, and to check then later on if you are doing that. So the buy your house, it feels safe. Everyone is going to tell you, but we need to test that. And we need to see if that you are doing, either rent or buy, if that is really the best thing for you, or if you are listening to other people and base it on emotion. Now, there are two ways to look at it. Let's look at household A. That's the renter. This is normally where we started off. I started off there. So the perception then is that, you're actually falling behind because other people are buying properties and you are renting. You do not make yourself rich. Now, the truth is that if we look at the sums, you're going to find that it's not necessarily the truth on condition that you've got a little bit of self-discipline. Say, for example, I rent for 10,000 Rand, but now I want to go and buy. But my bond payment is actually, let's say, 12,000 Rand for the same house. And then there's other costs like rates and taxes and levies and stuff. And let's say that's another 3,000 Rand. So it's 15,000 Rand. Now, the rates and taxes and stuff like that, you do not have to pay when you rent. So this guy's budget is 15,000 Rand and he's locked in. This guy, when you rent it, it was 10,000 Rand. But remember, there's 5,000 missing. So if you want to compare the two, you have to look at, okay, but what can I do with the 5,000 Rand additional to make the comparison? Because if the 5,000 Rand that's in your house, that's locked into your house, is working better than the rent, then you should do that. But if it's not, you should do this. Can you see how simple it is? It's not complicated. Now, if you haven't got a system, it can become complicated. For what reason? For the simple fact that if you rent each and every year, the rent is going to go up. But do you know that you can apply the same, for example, in the Property Pro investment system, where you say, okay, but if I'm buying the house, it's like I've rented the house and it also goes up. So here the amount becomes smaller, or you can keep it the same, 5,000 as an investment right through. And then you make up a mind. So when you look at household B, the buyer, he says, I'm getting ahead in life. It's a forced savings. I'm not making someone else rich. But do you know that in the first year, as an example, you pay, let's say, 10,000 Rand on your bond repayments? The way that they structure it, the system, the banking system specifically, is through amortization. So at the end of the first year, you pay 10,000. In my mind, it's 120,000 that I pay off on my house. At the end of the year, you go to the bank and you say, I'd like to see my statements to see how much capital I've actually paid off on my house. You're going to find that you are going to be extremely lucky if you've paid off 10%. In other words, of the 10,000 Rand, less than 1,000 Rand goes to make you rich in terms of the equity that you start building. Can you see? Unless we know that numbers, we cannot make a decision because you have to bring in what we call the opportunity cost. In other words, how hard is this money working for you versus this money? Now, this is only if you're disciplined. If you're not disciplined, you're not going to do what you're supposed to do. I'm here to tell you, if you really want to compare the two, there's only one way. You have to compare apples with apples. Something else that I see that people neglect to do when they buy a house because the hype and they pre-qualified and now they're going to buy it, they look at the bond repayments. But what about the transfer fees? What about the legal fees? What about bond registration costs? What about maintenance? What about insurance? What about rates and taxes? What about levies? And then, most importantly, what about the opportunity cost of this over a period of time? And this is where you need to be able to know how hard my money must work for me, first of all, what vehicle I'm going to use, unit trust or a retirement annuity or wherever, or my house, and then is that thing going to give me that I want at the end of the day? So we are confoculated when we make decisions on not enough information. We think we make decisions based on what we know, because this is what they tell us, but we don't know how to do those sums. And that is where the problem then comes in. So the marketing is going to show you, but this house is growing. And it's going to feel like this house is growing. But the problem is, your money in that house may not grow nearly as fast as it should. And this is why in the Property Accelerator Masterclass, I go through this exercise. Actually, I show you 3 different scenarios. If you buy a house, right? If you're renting that house, or if you're renting the house out, what will be the scenario? And as I've just said to you, The moment that you see what the banks are doing, you're going to find that for most people, within the next 5 to 10 years, they will not, the money that I've put in, they're not going to recoup unless they, of course, know and they've got the skills to be able to know what to do. So the question that people are asking, is it good to buy or to rent or what's the best, right, is the wrong question. The right question is, this decision that I'm going to make with the skills that I've got, will this decision help me, and will that decision be the quickest way for me with the least amount of, let's call it effort and PT and money to get to my end goal? That's the only question, because the moment that you do that, you're going to get to a sum. And the sum is the answer. The sum is the truth. There's a philosopher many, many years ago, Descartes, and he said, the only truth there is, the only truth is a sum, because 1 plus 1 stays 1 forever. Throughout history, it cannot change. I've been doing this since 1987 when I figured this out. It's the same sums that I'm doing. It's the same system that I'm using. My children using the system. My students using the system. Why? Because it's based on principles. It's based on fundamentals. It cannot change. So the moment that you ask, but which one is the best, is the wrong question. Make sure that you know how to do it. Now, do you know how easy it actually is? I'll give you the tool to make it even easier, or you can use Excel. There's only 3 things that I need to know to see if my money is going to work hard enough for me to be able to retire financially free. The first one is, how much money do I have in order to be able to invest? That's the first thing. That's where I started off. I mean, it's no good to know that you must invest 100,000 into unit trust to retire in 20 years' time. If I haven't got the 100,000 rand, where am I going to get it? I have to work with that I've got available right now, and that I can say, okay, this must give me freedom. That's the first thing. We call it, you must have a surplus. The second thing is, and be careful for that surplus, because we think it's additional. Sometimes I'm going to give you another tool, the Debt Eradication app. And in that, I'll show you that the chances are that you've got this money, but it's not working the right way. Secondly, is what income do I need to have in 10 years' time in today's value? Say, for example, it's 10,000 or 100,000 rand. How much will that money be? Take an inflation into consideration. Again, an app will tell you that, or you can use Excel to do it. So what is that income? And that income is represented by a freedom number. Let's say it's additional 10 million that you need. The last variable is your time horizon in 10 years' time. And I've got 1,000 rand here. Then if you do that sum, it's going to be about 65%. So now I know my financial freedom growth rate. The moment that you know that rate, now I can go back to answer, is it better to rent or to buy? Because if I'm buying a property, that surplus that I've got, that 15,000 where 5,000 is additional that I must have, otherwise I can't buy it because I've rented for 10,000 rand. So that 5,000 rand, if that is not more than, in this case, 65%, I know that this house is not going to help me to get to financial freedom. In this side, if I've got 10,000 to pay for rent, I've got 5,000 surplus, whatever decision I make, can that help me to get there over the same time period? Now we get variations where I can rent, buy a property that I'm renting out for 10,000 rand. In other words, the situation stays the same, but the growth of the 5,000 in that house that I've bought to rent out, that can put me in financial freedom. And now all of this, I'm showing you during the Property Accelerated Masterclass so that you can make an informed decision. And the only reality check that you need to know is my money, this that I've got available for growth, is that growing faster than my financial freedom growth rate, yes or no? Now, how is it possible that a great investment, compared to what everyone else is saying, is actually a bad investment? Let's look at what we call the investment gap. Say, for example, you do your calculation and you see that you need 22% in order to be financially free in 10 or 20 years. But then you go and have a look. you've got a retirement annuity, that thing grows between, let's say, 10 to 12%, which I doubt. But in any case, after all cost. So when you compare retirement annuities with the tax benefits, there's a lot of people that's going to say to you, it's actually a great investment, but there's a lot of disadvantages that they're not going to say. But let's assume it grows at 12%, but you need 22%. Then that gap is going to become bigger and bigger and bigger over a period of time. So this cannot help, but it's a good investment. The same with the unit trust. Maybe it grows at 10% if you're lucky. Maybe you're very lucky and it's growing at 12%. But still, 12% is not more than 22%. And therefore, the gap compounded becomes bigger and bigger and bigger as time goes by. The same with your house. You buy the house, now you know how to do that calculation. If that house is growing at 6%, but you need 22%, it's never going to be a great investment. For that reason, no one can tell you if it's good to buy or to rent a property. It's going to depend on you and you alone. Now, there's the last part that comes together, and this is that my investment growth rate, I've touched on that, but I did not explain it. My investment growth rate must be bigger than my financial freedom growth rate. So on property, let's take that. We take, how much is it costing you additional in order to be able to invest? But to do that, I must first determine, but what is the real additional? Because what about all these costs that goes with the property? Surely you have to deduct that, because this guy do not have to pay that. So now, instead of 5,000, you may find that my rates and taxes and the cost to have that property, that just into thin air is 2,000. So I've actually got only 3,000 Rand to invest. So this guy hasn't got, because he doesn't have those costs, he's got the full 5,000 to invest, versus this guy's only 3,000 Rand. This is what I'm talking about. You have to look at, after all the tax, the cost, everything is deducted. Then there's a major other thing that I see that people miss. When you cash in 20 years' time, there's going to be capital gains tax. With a property as an example, there may or there may not be, depending on what you know and how you structure that, be capital gains tax payable. That makes a massive difference. So if your IGR is smaller than your FFGR, irrespective of you rent or you buy, it's not going to work. If it's higher, then whatever decision you've made will be the right one. But no one can tell you if it's better to rent to buy. Therefore, please do not answer that question ever again in your life. Make sure that you've got the competency, that you know how to do that. The moment that you know your financial freedom growth rate, this anxiety that we've got that I don't know what's going to happen in the future, it disappeared. At least it disappeared for me in 1987. And this is where this debate basically ends. We do the sums, we take everything, if you buy a house, into consideration, we take everything, if you rent, into consideration, you make an informed decision. That decision is going to be the right decision for you. Not for me, not for your parents, not for your brother, not for your sister, not for your friends, but for you. Not for the financial planner, not for the estate agent, but for you. Right? Because it's irrelevant to say, yeah, but I'm buying a house and that house is bleeding you dead, as I'm showing people in the Property Accelerator Masterclass. So what is the path out of this trap that you are most probably in, even if you haven't bought a house or even if you bought a house? First of all, you must realize that we are confoculated. And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing since 2002, is to show people that because we don't know how things work, money, finances, the economy, the banking system, because of that we are confoculated. You have to understand that the system job is to keep you busy, to keep you compliant, and to do what they want you to do. Once we know that, then we need to know our financial freedom growth rate. Now I know what to benchmark. Once I know that, now I show you the strategy. So I want you to once and for all end this story by asking other people, is it good to rent or to buy? Do a little bit of homework, come and attend my Property Accelerator Masterclass, and then for the first time in your life, you will know the answer to that question. And you will never have to ask that question ever and become emotional. Because the moment that you become emotional, you're going to justify whatever you've done. And then it's too late, because the moment that you believe that that you are doing is right, I will be able to prove to you mathematically that it is not the right way, that there's a better way. But to do that, you have to unconfocate yourself. I can't do that. That's why I'm giving you the tools so that you can do it for yourself. The step-by-step process that I followed in 1987, when I discovered the lie and why it's so difficult for people to get out of this rat race. Now, I really hope that this helped. Do the calculations, come back, tell me how it worked for you, and then I hope that I'm going to see you in the Property Accelerator Masterclass. You'll find the link somewhere, click on that link, book for it, and it's a live session. In other words, you can even ask me questions afterwards. I'll see you in the next one.